The girl in the cement. Jake Walker stood alone in the cold wind, his boots crunching on broken metal and dust. The sky above was gray, the air quiet except for the hum of his scanner. This place, once a secret alien research base, had been abandoned for 10 years. People said it was empty, dead, but Jake didn't believe them. He was here for a reason. His scanner beeped softly. Energy. Something still active, deep underground. Jake moved carefully over the cracked floor. Twisted wires and half-melted machines lay all around. Most of the base had collapsed. Still, he followed the signal down a dark hallway and through a wide, broken door. Then he saw her. At first, he thought it was a statue. A strange one. But then, her eyes blinked. He froze. She was stuck in the center of the room. Her legs were buried deep into the ground, fused with some kind of smooth gray cement. Her skin was pale silver, not human. Her eyes glowed softly, gold like two suns. Her hair was long, white, and moved in the breeze from a broken vent. She looked at him. "Help," she whispered. Her voice was dry, almost too soft to hear. "Please." Jake's heart raced. He stepped closer, not believing what he was seeing. What happened to you?" he asked. She shook her head slowly. "Trapped. I was betrayed." Jake looked down. The cement wasn't normal. It shimmered slightly, like it was alive. Alien tech. Advanced. Maybe impossible to break. "Who did this? To you?" he asked. Her lips trembled. "They said I was dangerous, that I must be buried alive." Jake felt cold. This was no statue, no machine. This was a living girl, stuck here for who knew how long, and no one had ever found her. Until now. He opened his pack, pulled out his scanner, and aimed it at the strange cement. The screen showed strange symbols. Temperature normal, life signs strong, but weak. She had been here for years, surviving somehow. "What's your name?" he asked. "Elira," she said, barely louder than a breath. "Elira," Jake repeated, trying to stay calm. "I'll try to help you, but first I need to understand. Who left you here?" She closed her eyes. A tear rolled down her silver cheek. "I came to your world and for peace," she whispered. "But they feared me." "Who feared you?" She opened her eyes again and looked straight at him. "Your people, some humans, and some from my own. They worked together. They wanted a war. I said no. So they stopped me." Jake didn't understand it all, but one thing was clear. This girl had been punished for saying the wrong thing to the wrong people. He looked at her legs again. The cement held her tightly, like it had grown around her. Not even her knees were free. No tools he had could break it now. "I'll need to come back," he said. "Bring equipment, call for help." "No," she said suddenly, panic in her voice. "You can't tell anyone." "Why?" "They'll kill me. They'll kill you too." Jake stepped back, shaken. "Then how can I help you?" She looked up at the ceiling. A small hole let in sunlight from above. "There is a chemical. In the old labs, South Wing. Hidden. Only that can melt the bond." Jake thought for a moment. The South Wing was unstable, dangerous, but he couldn't leave her here. Before he could speak, he heard a sound, a sharp beep. His scanner started blinking. Red motion detected footsteps, voices not far, not human. Jake's blood turned cold. "Someone's coming," he said, quickly turning off the scanner. Elira's eyes widened in fear. "They found us," she said. "Run." "I won't leave you." "You must," she said. "They don't." "No, I'm awake, but if they see you, they'll know." Jake looked around. No weapons, no cover. He had to move. "I'll be back," he promised. "I swear it." She gave him a small, sad smile. "You're the first one to see me." And not look away. Then Jake ran. He slipped out of the room just as shadows passed through the broken hallway behind him. Tall figures, black armor, glowing helmets. He didn't look back. But in his mind, he saw her eyes, gold and full of pain. He had found her. Now, he had to save her. The forest outside the old base was quiet, but Jake's mind was loud. He sat by a small campfire, hands shaking. Slightly. The wind moved through the trees like whispers, but all he could hear was her voice. "Help me, please." That girl. That alien girl, buried alive in alien cement. Elira. Jake stared at the scanner in his lap. It was dark now, but the memory of her glowing eyes still burned behind his own. Who was she, really? She said she was here for peace. But why would they trap her like that? His fingers moved across the scanner screen, opening the last recorded image. It was a blurry scan of her energy signature. Strong. Alive. But the data didn't make sense. One part said she was marked as a diplomat. Another part, criminal. Both. At the same time. That's not possible, Jake whispered. Suddenly, a beep. The scanner blinked. Motion. Again. Jake jumped to his feet, switching the scanner to stealth mode. He held his breath, listening. But this time there was nothing. No footsteps, no voices. Just the wind again. "Paranoia," he muttered. "You're losing it." Still, he kept low and silent as he moved through the forest, back toward the base. He had to see her again. The broken base looked even darker at night. Lights from the sky barely reached the floor below. Jake crept through the ruined hallways until he reached the room where she was trapped. She was awake. Elira turned her head as he entered. Her voice was weak, but steady. "You came back." "I said I would," Jake replied. "I don't break promises." Her lips twitched into a small smile. Her skin looked colder now, pale silver, almost white. "You're in danger," she said. "I know." He stepped closer and placed a thermal blanket over her shoulders. It was a small thing, but she shivered a little less. Jake knelt beside her, eyes scanning the strange cement around her legs. It was smooth and solid, no cracks. Alien symbols, glowed faintly across its surface. "I don't understand," he said. "You said you were here for peace. Then why did they do this to you?" Elira looked away for a moment, then slowly answered. "My people sent me to speak with yours. We wanted to share knowledge, build something new, but not everyone agreed." "Who betrayed you?" "Some of your leaders. Some of mine. They wanted control, not peace." Jake's jaw tightened. "So they buried you alive?" "They said." "I knew too much," Elira whispered. "So they use this cement. It's a prison. One that feeds off my own energy to keep me trapped." Jake looked at her, stunned. "So the more you stay alive, the stronger it holds you?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, but if I die, it might release or explode." Jake stood, pacing the room. This was worse than he thought. She was not just a prisoner. She was a power source. Or a weapon. Or both. "How long have you been down here?" he asked. "Time is different to me," she said. "But long. Years, I think." Jake's fists clenched. He couldn't believe no one had ever come for her. Or maybe someone had, and didn't survive. "Elira," he said. "I need to find the chemical you mentioned. You said it's in the south wing?" She nodded. "Yes, in the old lab. The container is silver, marked with 3 red dots." Jake checked his scanner map. The south wing was mostly collapsed. He'd have to crawl, maybe blast through walls. Dangerous, but he didn't care. He had to try. "I'll go now," he said. Elira reached out, her hand trembling. He held it. "Why are you helping me?" she asked softly. Jake looked at her, eyes steady. "Because you asked." Just as he turned to leave, a light flashed through the cracks in the wall. Voices. This time, human. Jake ducked behind a console. 3 figures in dark uniforms walked past, carrying scanners and rifles. He heard one of them speak. The signal came from here. "Something's alive." Elira didn't move. Her body froze in place. She knew better than to draw attention. Jake held his breath. The soldiers paused. One of them walked close to the room, shining a light through the broken door. The beam almost touched her face. Almost. But then they moved on. Jake waited 10 long minutes before standing again. "That was close," he whispered. Elira nodded. "They are not here to rescue. They are here to erase." Jake's eyes narrowed. "Then we better move fast." Jake moved through the shadows like a ghost. His boots touched the cracked floor without sound. Every hallway he passed seemed to whisper warnings, as if the base itself had come alive. Somewhere deep in the ruins, Elira waited, trapped, tired, but alive. Jake's mind raced. He needed to find the chemical, the one that could melt the alien cement. But the south wing was a wreck. Collapsed walls, exposed wires, sharp metal, no lights, and something worse, the feeling that he wasn't alone. He checked the scanner. A faint signal blinked. Not Elira. Not human either. He kept moving. Back in the chamber, Elira sat quietly, her eyes half closed. Her body was still weak, but her mind was sharp. She reached into her memory, pulling forward images she had hidden for years. A lab, a council, human leaders shaking hands with alien generals, smiles hiding secrets. And then, the decision. Her voice ignored, her warnings silenced. They poured the cement around her legs. It burned at first. Then it froze her. She wasn't just trapped. She was erased. Meanwhile, Jake crawled through a narrow tunnel toward the old South lab. The ceiling dripped black water. Strange green moss glowed faintly on the walls. He wiped sweat from his face and pulled out a small flashlight. Suddenly, a loud metallic clang. Jake froze. He turned off the light and listened. Heavy breathing. Something was down there. He reached for his multi-tool quietly, then peeked around the corner. It wasn't a person. It was a machine. A damaged alien drone, half broken, sparking, but still moving. Guarding the lab. Jake knew. He had no weapons strong enough to fight it, so he waited. The drone moved in a circle, scanning, then rolled to the far side of the room. Jake ran. He slid into the lab, ducked under a broken desk, and searched quickly. Metal shelves, broken glass, strange containers. Then, there it was. A silver canister with 3 red dots. Exactly what Elira had described. He grabbed it, stuffed it into his bag, and the shelf creaked. The drone turned. Jake didn't wait. He ran through the back exit, the drone firing sparks. Behind him, a beam of red light sizzled past his ear, burning the wall. Another blast missed by inches. He jumped into a service tunnel and rolled behind a support beam. Silence. Then, a low, growling sound. The drone didn't follow, but something else had woken up. Back in the chamber, Elira's eyes snapped open. "They're moving the base," she whispered. "What?" Jake had just returned, panting, holding the canister. "This place, it's alive. It can shift. Close. Trap." Jake placed the canister beside her. "Then we don't have much time." He read the alien instructions. They were simple. Twist, pour, wait. He opened the canister carefully. The liquid inside shimmered like quicksilver. "I don't know if this will hurt," he said. Elira looked at him. "I already hurt." He poured, the chemical slowly around the cement base. It hissed, steamed, and crackled. The ground began to tremble slightly. The symbols on the cement started to fade. Then, she screamed. Jake jumped back. The cement glowed red hot. The chemical was burning through it, but it was also connected to her nerves. "Stop?" he asked, panic rising. "No!" she cried, teeth clenched. "Keep going." More steam rose. The cement cracked. Elira's breathing grew shallow. Jake held her hand. "You're doing great," he whispered. "Just a little more." Then, crack, a loud, final break. The cement split open. Her knees buckled, her legs, bruised, pale, strange, were finally free. Jake caught her before she fell. "You did it," she whispered. "We did it." But their moment of peace didn't last long. The walls shook. A deep alarm rang out. Not human. Not friendly. "They know," Illyra said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes showed fear. "They know I'm free." Jake picked her up gently, her body light as a feather. "Then let's get out before they show up." "No," she said softly. "They're already here." Jake stopped in his tracks. He had Illyra in his arms. Her legs were still weak, barely able to move. The walls around them shook, the base groaning like it was waking up after a long sleep. But now, standing in front of him, was himself. Same face, same clothes, same voice. "Jake Walker," the copy said coldly. "Return the subject now." Jake's blood froze. Illyra looked up, eyes wide. "It's a mimic," she whispered. "A memory echo. Built to fool." Jake backed away. "What are you?" "I am a safety measure," the fake Jake said. "You are interfering with galactic security protocol. The subject must remain buried." "I'm not letting you take her," Jake said firmly. The copy didn't blink. "Then you have made yourself a target." And just like that, it vanished. Disappeared in a ripple of light. They ran. Jake supported Illyra as they moved through the base. Alarms flashed red on the walls. The floor shook beneath them. From deep inside, a distant voice spoke in a language Jake didn't understand. But Illyra did. "They're opening the vaults," she said, "releasing the old guards." Jake glanced at her. "Old guards?" She nodded. "Ghost soldiers, left behind to erase anything, or anyone. Like me." They reached the old command center, a wide room with shattered glass and black screens. Jake sat Illyra down gently on a broken chair. She closed her eyes and breathed deeply. "I remember this place," she said. "This is where they made the decision." Jake leaned forward. "Tell me everything." Illyra touched the floor with her hand. The cement still held some energy, some memories. Her skin began to glow softly, and images appeared in the air. Floating holograms, a meeting room, a long table, 3 humans, 2 aliens, 1 girl, Illyra, standing in the middle. "They asked me if I would help design a weapon," she said. "One that could end war before it started. A mind weapon. Pure energy made of thought." Jake watched the images in shock. "I said no." Illyra continued. "I came for peace, not power." One of the humans in the hologram slammed his hand on the table. Then another leaned forward, smiling coldly. "She is the weapon," the man said in the memory. "We don't need her permission." The hologram faded. Jake stared at her. "They wanted to use you?" Illyra nodded. "My energy is rare. My mind is built to learn fast, to adapt. They thought, if they controlled me, they could control everything. So, when you refused, they buried me, alive. Told the galaxy I died in an accident." Jake felt sick. "And no one came for you?" She shook her head. "Too dangerous. Too many lies." Suddenly, a sound from the hallway. Heavy footsteps. Not running, marching. The ghost soldiers had arrived. Jake looked around. 1 door, no weapons, no escape until... Illyra pointed to the floor. "Beneath this room," she said. "There's a tunnel. Emergency exit. Hidden." Jake found the panel and pried it open. A narrow ladder led down into darkness. He helped Illyra down first, then followed. As he closed the panel above them, he heard the door burst open. Boots stomped in. Metal voices searched for life. Too late. They were gone. The tunnel was tight and wet. The walls dripped, Old air filled their lungs, but it was safe, for now. As they walked, Jake broke the silence. "What happens if they catch us?" Elira answered slowly. "They'll erase us. Our memories, our bodies, like we never lived." Jake clenched his fists. "Then we make sure that doesn't happen." She looked at him. "You're different from the others. I'm just human," Jake said. She smiled faintly. "No, you're better than most." Suddenly, the tunnel opened into a wide underground cavern. Glowing plants lined the walls. Strange symbols pulsed in the rock. Jake looked around in awe. "What is this?" Elira stepped forward, her energy slowly returning. Her feet touched the glowing ground. "This," she said softly, "was my home on Earth. The first safe place." Jake watched her walk ahead. Something big was coming. He could feel it. But for the first time, they had a chance. Together. The underground world glowed with soft blue light. Strange plants shimmered along the stone walls. Pools of glowing water pulsed like hearts. It didn't feel like Earth. It felt ancient. Older than any map, older than any war. Elira stood in the middle of it all, eyes closed, arms lifted slightly. The light answered her, slowly wrapping around her body like it remembered her. "This place is alive," Jake said, barely whispering. "It remembers peace," Elira replied, "and it remembers betrayal." Jake walked slowly, looking around. "What is this place, really?" She turned to face him. "A refuge," she said, "built by my people, and yours, long ago, before the secrets, before the war." Jake raised an eyebrow. "You mean humans helped build this?" Elira nodded. "Not all humans. A few, the ones who believed we could share this planet." She stepped closer, placing her hand on a stone wall. It lit up with symbols, half alien, half English. Jake read the glowing words out loud. "Together, or not at all." He touched the wall, too. It felt warm. Then a sound echoed through the cavern, a soft hum, a signal, a presence. Jake turned. 3 shadows stepped from the far side of the cavern. 2 were alien. 1 was human. The human was old. Gray hair, military jacket, cold eyes. "Elira," he said. "You made it." Jake stood in front of her instinctively. "Who are you?" The man looked at him like a fly. "I'm the man who ordered her burial." Jake's fists clenched. "Why are you here now?" "To finish what I started." But Elira stepped forward. "You were one of the good ones," she said, her voice calm. "You believed in peace. You helped build this place." The man didn't deny it. "I did. And I learned that peace was a lie." He walked around the edge of the pool slowly. "You have no idea what's coming, Jake. What's really out there. Other races. Real threats. You think Elira's special?" He pointed at her like a weapon. "She's a test, a soft beginning. But her kind isn't the worst." Elira's hands glowed slightly. "Enough," she said. "You used fear to trap me. Now you want to use it again?" Jake stepped between them. "You came all this way just to kill her? Jake walked beside Elira through the tall grass. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. No wind, no birds, not even the sound of insects. "It's watching us," Elira said. Jake scanned the trees. "The base?" She shook her head. "No. Something older. Something worse. They had no home, no weapons, and no allies left. The safe place was gone. Their enemies knew she was free. But Jake wasn't afraid anymore. And Elira? She was changing. Her skin glowed faintly at night. Her eyes no longer looked human. And sometimes, just for a second, her voice echoed like 2 people speaking at once. Jake knew she wasn't the same girl they found buried in the cement. She was becoming what they feared. Days passed. They kept moving. They followed old trails Elira remembered from long ago, paths hidden from satellites guarded by plants that only bloomed when she touched them. Then, one morning, they reached it, The dome. A giant metal sphere, half buried in the earth. Rusted. Cracked. Forgotten by most. Elira walked toward it and placed her palm on the door. It opened with a loud groan. Jake raised an eyebrow. What is this place? My people's last gift, Elira said. A seed of resistance. Inside, the air was clean. Lights flickered on one by one. Machines powered up after years of silence. Jake looked around in shock. There were suits, weapons, maps, data screens showing old battles, plans for peace and for war. You had all this and didn't fight back before? He asked. I wasn't ready, Elira said. Now I am. They trained. Jake learned how to use the alien tech. Simple. Controls guided by touch and thought. Elira showed him how to bend energy fields, how to hide from drones, how to change the color of light itself. Together, they studied old messages, stored memories, and secret recordings. One showed Earth's leaders, years ago, signing a silent deal. A voice echoed in the background. Power must be shaped, if not by us, then by them. Elira paused the video. That's why they buried me. They didn't want peace. They wanted control. That night, Jake stared at the stars above the dome. We can't take them all alone, he said. Elira sat beside him. We won't. She lifted her hand and pressed 2 fingers to a small stone beside the dome. It lit up. A low signal pulsed into the sky. Old tech, forgotten frequency. What is that? Jake asked. She smiled. A call. To who? To the ones they couldn't. Silence. The next day they weren't alone. A ship landed just beyond the trees. Quiet, dark, sharp like a shadow. Out stepped 3 figures. 1 human, 2 not. The human looked at Jake and nodded. You're the one who freed her. Jake stood tall. Yeah, name's Jake. The man smiled. You did what we failed to do. Elira stepped forward. Are you ready to help? The group knelt before her. We've been waiting. Later, as night fell, they all gathered around a glowing table. A map appeared. Earth's major bases, secret labs, high-security zones. Jake pointed at one near the coast. That's where they make the memory erasers. If we hit that first, we cut their reach. Elira nodded. Then we hit it. Tonight. The group geared up. Cloaks, blades, light rifles. Elira wore no armor. She didn't need it anymore. Jake looked at her. You sure you're ready? She smiled. I'm done hiding. The clouds over the coastline turned red. Waves crashed harder. Birds vanished from the sky. A deep hum shook the trees. And at the edge of the sea, the final base stood, a black fortress built into the cliffs. Inside, men in suits watched glowing screens. One whispered, She's coming. The old general stepped forward, cold eyes locked on the sky. Let her, he said. Above them, the air cracked open. A ship broke through the clouds, silent, sharp, glowing faint blue. On board, Jake stood beside Elira, heart pounding. You know, this might be suicide, right? He said. Elira smiled softly. Only for them. They landed on the roof. 3 rebels followed. The others stayed in orbit, ready to strike if the signal dropped. Elira stepped forward first. Her bare feet touched, the steel and it sizzled beneath her. The alarm screamed. Jake raised his weapon. Here we go. Doors burst open. Soldiers ran out in rows wearing heavy armor, pointing pulse guns. But Elira lifted her hand. A wave of light rolled out like a breath. Silent, blinding, pure. Every gun jammed. Every soldier froze. Their armor cracked and fell, to the ground in pieces. Jake blinked. You disabled all of them? She looked ahead. No, I freed them. The soldiers dropped their weapons and ran. They moved deeper into the base, room by room, hall by hall. The walls were covered in blue lights and names. Names of the erased, the stolen, the silenced. Jake touched one name. Your people? Elira shook her head. Yours too. At the heart of the base was the core, a giant machine glowing red. Inside, energy swirled like a storm. That's what powers their memory weapon, Elira said. It spreads across cities, makes people forget the truth. Jake stepped closer. Can you shut it down? I can do more. She walked to the control pad. Her fingers hovered over the glowing keys. Then a voice echoed from behind them. Don't. The old general stood in the doorway, alone, unarmed, but his voice was still sharp. You destroy that, and the world burns. You think humans are ready to remember the things we did? Elira looked at him. They have to be. The general stepped forward. If you flip that switch, they'll come for you. Real enemies, from beyond Earth, ones we've kept quiet. Elira didn't move. Let them come. They'll destroy everything. Then we build again. He pointed at Jake. You'll get him killed. Jake stepped forward. I made my choice. I'd rather die free than live blind. The general sighed. Then you've doomed us all. He turned and walked away. No fight, just silence. Elira touched the final key. The core went dark, all across. The world, people woke up, remembering things they weren't supposed to. Missing time. Voices. Faces. The lie had ended. Later, as the sun rose, Elira and Jake stood on a cliff, looking down at the sea. It's done, Jake said quietly. No, she replied. It's just beginning. He looked at her. You could leave Earth now, couldn't you? Yes. But you're staying? She nodded. This world buried me. But it also gave me one person who dug me out. Jake smiled. You're really not human, he said. She smiled back. But you are, and that's why we'll win. As the sun rose higher, light touched her skin, and her glow faded for the first time in days. She was finally free. And for the first time, so was the world.